I just want to thank everybody for raising their hand and participating in Global Entrepreneurship Week.
That was a recap.
We are back with our live recap of entrepreneurs here over at the Westside Community Incubator inside of Nevada Partners, and with so many folks involved in the Global Entrepreneurship Network. One of our most consistent contributors in the Las Vegas community, the finance guy who shows up and provides advice. Sometimes in a way that people don't like to hear it, but it's good advice. Steven Ness,
truth.
how are you doing?
Thank you, Elias. I'm really glad to be here, man. I appreciate that. Love supporting this community, so always excited to be here. What's up, everybody? My name's Steven Ness. I'm a co-founder and managing partner of Lift, Looking Inward for Tomorrow. We are a management consulting company, although our claim to fame is we help entrepreneurs source capital so they can keep dreaming. We help them scale by using capital appropriately, and then I also have my own consulting company as well. So Great. Love being here, love teaching here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we'll definitely need to get you into some future classes. I mean, you and all of the great folks you have brought in. I mean, they've just been some magical moments that's available here on this YouTube channel. I think one of my favorite moments was when we go back to the summer of 2024, and we had founder of China Mama, we had Eddie Rivera, we had Morris, and you. I was sick that day, but I had to be there because I knew how amazing it was. Can you talk about that? What do you remember from that day?
So from that day, actually, I really enjoyed it. That was empowering an entrepreneur. So Ivy at China Mama has had much success in this city. Yeah. I've been very fortunate to be on that journey with her for about 3 years. She hadn't done any public speaking before that event, though. So what was one of the most exciting things for me, is there's actually two, but was the fact that I got to help her to get ready, to prep for that, and then just speak power, speak life into her, help provide her that additional confidence that she needed in order to do that. And it was really important because we had a grand opening coming later where she needed to speak in front of the mayor and other things of that sort. And she's now catapulted into Palace Station and doing many other things there. So that was one of the favorite things. You also just happened to mention one of my favorite people on earth. For people who don't know, Eddie Rivera is the most amazing man I know. I call him Papi. He's a 69-year-old Puerto Rican that I have adopted as my father. And really cool things coming on that, actually. So I've been working with Eddie for many years now, or should I say he's been pouring life and love into me.
That's great.
And so there's this cool thing that has happened. So when I was at US Bank, Eddie was a goals coach there. Okay. And so me being in business development, I was like, hey, to get more business, let's get Eddie out here teaching. I think that was actually an event. Oh, that was
probably way before.
That was way after my US Bank days, right?
Okay.
But what would happen is every time I would take this man out and go invite him to do community events, invite him to teach, and then I'd be like, oh, I have someone I want you to meet. There was a 50% chance he already knew that person. He'd already been mentoring them. He'd already been teaching them or coaching them in some way. So I started nicknaming these individuals Eddie's Kids.
Nice.
What's really amazing is, what was it? So in September, one of Eddie's kids, who I'd never met before, reached out to me and they said, hey, Eddie turns 70 in January. Let's do something amazing. Let's actually give a surprise birthday party to him. And as this individual has actually never met Eddie in person, only met him online, and said, and I quote, he is the most impactful person that has ever been in my life, including my parents, anybody else. He's been the most impactful person in my life.
That's amazing.
So it got me thinking. I was like, okay.
Goosebumps. Think about how generous Eddie is with his love and his advice.
He's genuinely just a good human being. He's an ordained pastor. He's pursuing his PhD at 69 years old. He's just pursued a life of excellence and used education and self-empowerment to do that. That's great. I was planning this idea. Let's throw him a big birthday party, right? I meet with him about a month later on my birthday. Okay. And so birthday conversation just comes up and we start talking about it. And I'm trying to feel him out to identify, how can I have a surprise birthday party for this guy, but have him not know it's coming. Well, as I found out in that conversation, throwing him a surprise birthday party would have been actually the worst thing I could have possibly done for him. It wouldn't have had the intended impact. Now, a little bit about Eddie's story. I don't want to share too much, but at 21 years old, he left Puerto Rico and he came to America with $100 in his pocket. He was escaping trauma, abuse, many other things that happened in his life. One of those things was he was never allowed to celebrate his birthday.
Oh,
So to this day, that man never celebrates his birthday.
Mm.
I've wondered why I couldn't get this guy out on his birthday for the last 4 or 5 years, because I have literally adopted him as my father in life.
yeah.
So once he did that, I was like, crap, gotta let this cat out of the bag. I can't like throw this event for him and then he'll just like not like it, walk out, right?
Yeah.
So then it got me thinking. So there's a statistic out there, and maybe you can do the research to find out what the percentage is. But statistically speaking, the first time a man receives flowers is at his funeral.
I heard about this.
Right? And so I've developed this saying of give him his flowers now. And so then I thought with Eddie, how can I give this man his flowers now? I've literally adopted him as my father. I'm trying to, become more and more like him every possible day, right? Just understanding the grace he lives with, the integrity, things like that. So then this individual reaches out to me out of nowhere, and I had to follow up with her. I'm like, okay, so we can't throw a birthday party, but why don't we start a nonprofit that we can actually create to carry on this legacy that he has built and developed? So
That's great.
I'm in the process of that. I'm actually, with Eddie's help, I've been able to interview some of the people he's been chatting with. So today I spoke with a local lawyer who's been being mentored by Eddie since he was, or for the last 12 years now. So he met Eddie when Eddie was the director of HR at Four Seasons. And he wasn't even a lawyer yet. He was just becoming a freshman or sophomore at UNLV. And then he ended up, working with Eddie. This man's a successful lawyer now. He's operates multiple businesses in town. And I got to interview him today.
That's cool.
And it's really amazing because one of the questions that I ask all these people is, what does it mean to pursue a life of excellence to you? And what are the values that come up with that?
Yeah.
And I think this is like the 5th interview I've done. So I've got about 5 or 6 more to do, but we're using these interviews to shape and mold the nonprofit that I'll be launching next year.
Yep.
So our mission is to help individuals pursue a life of excellence through self-empowerment and education. We'll develop the rest of the values as we have these other individuals.
I wanted to hear the values. Like, was there a
so
commonality?
there have been. That's
values
exactly
that,
where I was going there.
okay.
So a few of the things, and again, I was speaking with a lawyer today. He had it so eloquent. I wish I had my Gemini notes on it so I could talk to about it. But one of the common things that has come up is humility and generosity.
Yeah.
In particular, the interview today said humility first, because you have to be humble, right? But then you also need to have curiosity. This idea that be curious about other people instead of being assumptive about other people.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to be assumptive, assume positive intent.
Absolutely.
So integrity came up repeatedly. Self-development has been another big thing that had come up about it. And then authenticity is another one. The idea that what I love so much about Eddie is he will not dare tell you to do anything that is not already an active practice that he keeps in his life. Like if he says, go try this, it's because he's been doing it for years and he knows the positive benefits it's going to have for you. The other thing that was really powerful is people said that he doesn't take BS, right? Like he calls you on your BS, but he does it in a loving, caring way.
Yep.
And so it was really
That's
amazing.
good.
But yeah, so generosity, humility, authenticity, integrity, I think has been said by almost every single one, right? Good. And the idea is all these other things, this humility, this generosity, these things are all great. But if you're not led by integrity,
right,
or if you don't have intention, that was another one that came up, right? Because if you don't have intention, you could be doing a lot of things, but you're really just spinning your wheels.
Totally.
So it's, yeah, so that's really amazing.
Plus, there can always be humility, generosity under the veil of negative intention, right? 48 laws of power type stuff. And so I think that that intentionality part is extremely important. That integrity part, extremely important. And I love that, man. You got to give, hopefully, this is flowers for Eddie, virtual flowers in a way. I just remember how blown away when we were doing that interview. There were people in this audience crying.
Oh, I remember that.
And I remember this gentleman who's older than Eddie who got up and he said, I'm 72 years old, but I want to be mentored by you, something like that. And then I was like, I got to jump on these calls with Eddie. Like, what is happening? And it really was really empowering and uplifting to be on the call with him, and several calls in terms of project that I was going through at the time. So shout out to
I've been very blessed to have direct access to that man. And so we have breakfast pretty much every other week, like clockwork, if not more. If you ever get to know Eddie, you will know that at some point our foundation will have to do something for Panera Bread.
Okay.
Because the funny thing is when you work with Eddie, if you are going to meet anywhere in public, it will always be Panera Bread.
Panera Bread. Okay.
So maybe shout
Good
out.
to
I'll
know.
reach out to them and get a corporate
Hey,
sponsorship for that here.
Yeah,
for
they
name
didn't pay for
dropping.
that. Third Eye Productions. They're
there
the
you
ones
go.
that plug this stuff in.
Another amazing group of individuals.
Absolutely, yeah. AJ and Des Moines have been really great. Coming in and teaching me and Breeze and several of us how to use all this equipment. I mean, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, there are another individuals that love making an impact in the community.
Yeah.
And something that I value and that I tell people all the time is, especially when I'm mentoring or when I'm meeting someone for the first time and they want to hire me to be their consultant. Something I tell everybody is if you only focus on money, that's all you're going to make. And if you make a ton of money, good for you. I'm sure you can. If you have the right focus, you'll make a ton. But if you only focus on money, then I can't help you because I focus on individuals who want to make an impact. And when you focus on making an impact, the money will always come afterwards. But when you get them switched in the other order, like it doesn't work for me. And I've turned down very profitable contracts because of the fact that the individuals only care about money. I've even cut out community partners because it's obvious they care more about the money they make than the lives they impact. And for me, I'm always over impact first.
Yeah, same here. Purpose, passion, profit, of course, impact and growth. Those are kind of the things that I circulate and think about. It's like, profit really comes last, but it is important. You can't have the rest without ultimately having a sustainability plan or monetization or anything like that. So you have to have that nailed down, but everybody stops there. You could start with probably passion, purpose, how you're impacting other people, profit, and then growth. To drive all that.
I like how the Japanese culture puts it in Ikigai. Instead of saying profit, they say, what will the world pay for? Right? Like, what will the world pay me for? And it's a similar idea, but it all starts with, what am I good at? What am I passionate about? What's something that needs to be solved in the world? And what's something that people will pay me for, right? And when you put those together, right at the core of that, you can really identify who you are and what you want to do.
Is this tied to flow state as well? Like once you have achieved those things and now you're working in that space, you're in flow state?
Well, so possibly. You could possibly not, right? And that depends on whether or not you properly identified what hits flow for you personally, right? So, flow is important. In our organization, we call it faithfulness, right? The idea when your outward behavior is directly in line with your interpersonal vision for yourself. I have a fun story about that. So, the way I found out what I was meant to do in life was actually when my daughter was she must have been 4, maybe 5 years old. My son was 2 or 3. And we had either gotten McDonald's or Burger King because she was eating some chicken nuggets, she's eating some French fries, and she's got her barbecue sauce, she's got her ketchup. And so she's just dipping her chicken nuggets in her barbecue, dipping her French fries in her ketchup. So I reached over to her plate, grabbed one of the chicken nuggets, dipped it in the ketchup, took a bite, grabbed one of the French fries, dipped it in the barbecue sauce and took a bite. Her jaw dropped. She looks at me, she goes, "You can do that?" Instantly, I had changed the way she looks at the world. Now we call that what's called a paradigm shift, right? We all have this lens that we look at the world through. That lens is made up of our past, our failures, our successes, our family of origin, right? So many different things make that up. Where you're born, right? So many things can play into that. There is a truth of this world, but when you look through a dirty lens or you look through a cracked lens or you look through, you don't even know you're looking through a lens, the truth you see may not be the actual truth. So what I was put on this earth to do was to help individuals create paradigm shifts. Now I applied into that, what am I good at? 25 years in financial services, a natural ability to know numbers and do well in math. So we take funding and we help make it simple, relatable, and we teach entrepreneurs how to secure capital so that they can then change the way they look at this world, change the way they look at their business, and ultimately change the world that they operate in.
Yeah, I think that is important. The whole concept of bringing paradigm shifts into the market. I mean, we're seeing that even with this concept of Global Entrepreneurship Network here, prioritizing cooperation, collaboration over competition. I mean, that in itself is a paradigm shift. I mean, there's so many entrepreneurs who've been raised up in a world believing that business is cutthroat, that you have to scam people, not pay them on time, abuse them, because that's what some billionaires who happen to run the world today. That's how they grew up. And we are part of a generation that can change that.
And it starts, one at a time, right? I would love to say that we could change an entire community, but it starts one community at a time. It takes one person at a time. And it takes someone to just reach back and say, hey, let me give you a hand up, not a handout, right?
Right.
That's something that I learned when I started doing mission work is there's this really amazing book, and it's called When Helping Hurts. And the idea of it is really that if going to a community and just putting a bunch of money there or doing something of that capacity or just giving without like knowing the community, understanding it, is actually bad for everybody.
Oh, totally.
So when I went on my first mission trip, I read that book to better understand like what should we be doing there. And what you have to do is you have to integrate yourself in a community, much like what you've done here, what Nevada Partners is doing here in the historic West Side, right? And then you bring that community together and you let them identify what is best for us. How do we work best together, right? And then you still don't just give them the financial resources or whatever resources, you help teach them how to develop those resources on their own. And when we did that in our mission work, it was just so much more empowering. You saw so much more impact. And then you see the individuals and what we were teaching them, and then it's multiplying, right? Like they were sending us videos of sharing the 3-circle gospel at their school, right?
That's
like
so
you see
awesome.
things where they're just like naturally taking it and multiplying it.
And this mission work was tied to the project in the Philippines this year. Is that right?
Yeah. So I did my very first mission trip in June of 2024. Since then, I've spent 5 years, or excuse me, it feels like I wish 5 years. I've spent 5 of the last 17 months in Asia doing mission work. So I have a mission with my church. I have a medical organization, the Philippine Science Society of Southern Nevada. So we do missionary work every January. I'm actually headed back in about 35 days. And then I also connected with another nonprofit called Divine Business Appointments. And so they actually, like, this is how good God is. When you start saying yes to God, he's going to put people in your path that are exactly who you need to be. As I've told you, and as you know, I'm a business consultant. So my number one skill is helping a business operate and use their cash more efficiently, right? So then Divine Business Appointments, they literally teach how to build businesses from a biblical basis to alleviate poverty.
Great.
So these people got planted in my path, and I was like, this is amazing. Absolutely. So I cleared like 3 days of my calendar, and I was like, okay, name's Henry. And I said, Henry, just use me however you need. I'm here to be of value. So we went to a bunch of their different cohorts and just started teaching them basic business skills. You would be amazed. The stuff that you teach and that is taught here is not being taught over in the Philippines, at least definitely not on anyone who's not an enterprise level, right? And so basic functional business concepts were highly impactful to them. So much so that after 2 days of that, he's like, hey, there's this thing at the university tomorrow. How about you come through?
Nice.
So I come through. I should have known. They asked for my resume in advance.
Oh man, that was an interview.
Then no, it wasn't an interview. No. Then they sent me a couple business plans.
Okay.
And so lo and behold, I was on the final defense for the Southwestern University of Cebu MBA program.
Nice. Oh,
I actually had to sign off on 8 MBAs.
That's so cool.
And so it was really amazing from going there. Not even I knew of that organization and I had planned to meet the individual that was running it, but I knew nothing more of that. So going from meeting them and 9 days later, not even 9 days later, I'm now at a university speaking on their behalf, empowering local entrepreneurs, meeting with, the other panelists. They were very successful entrepreneurs.
That's
one
great.
had 20 different brands. One had 400 some employees, right? Like these were big businesses that were on there supporting. And it was just really amazing to me, that time and time again, the biggest thing that I've done in my life is I always say, the answer is yes. Now, God, please tell me what the question is. And since I changed my attitude and really focused on that, God has just been putting the right people in my path every single time.
It's a
right?
blessing.
Like a nonprofit that is literally like, oh, that's exactly what I do back in the States. Yeah, I can help you guys. I don't even have to go like study or practice.
That's so great. Anything we do from a Tech for Good perspective, you already know we're there with you to support it.
Well, and you already have, right? So the one thing that I've learned over there is they really need a lot more handholding than we initially identified. So I'd set up a loan fund. Nobody sent me their business plan for it. You offered your tech for free. Nobody's even signed in or signed up for it yet.
Do they have a space like this?
No.
Can the Divine Business Group, can we help them find a nonprofit that's physical space with a room that's not used and convert that into an office space? Because that might be I think that is what makes this place work. with
Yeah.
all of the other things to catalyze it.
That, I mean, they don't have the capital to do it. Is the biggest
Is there
issue.
an existing? We could talk about this more offline. Let's talk about this more offline. But I
Okay.
love it. I
No,
think this is the right way to do it.
You got to come to the Philippines with me sometime.
Yeah,
You'll
someday,
you'll see what I'm
definitely.
saying, right? Like
Okay.
some of these
Yeah,
entrepreneurs have no computers.
Yeah.
Like they
No,
operate
yeah.
everything from their cell phone.
Yeah.
They have no Wi-Fi where they live. They only
Right.
are on data, right? So you got to understand the economic disparity, right?
Definitely.
So the business loans we were looking to give to these people were $200 to $300 US.
Right.
That's the equivalent of $100
Oh,
to
wow.
$200,000 US dollars to
Mhm.
start a company here.
Mhm.
So one of the biggest problems they had is a lot of them did cantarillas, which is a restaurant, shall you say, or like an eatery, right? Well, the biggest problem is they would literally eat their profits.
Yeah.
Or you're here at your house, your family lives close by, you
Mhm.
start extending credit to your family
Yeah.
to where it becomes normal. And now are you going to say no to not feed your family who hasn't
Right.
eaten for a day and you're the only
Right.
opportunity? So I
Right.
either give you my company's goods for free,
Mhm.
or I say no to my family member who doesn't
Yeah.
have food today.
Yeah. No,
Right.
no,
So
this
it's
is
a
very tough.
much more disparate difference that's
Yeah.
over there than there is here. But it's something that I'd love to solve. So anytime
Definitely.
we want to talk about it,
Absolutely.
100%.
We got to keep building what we're doing here, and that way we can, figure it out and
course.
project it out to the rest of the world. But I was on the phone the other day with somebody in Asia, and it was. I'm grateful to have jumped on that call, because when I did my story of my overcoming adversity, and because he asked.
Mhm.
And then he was like, okay, let's go to business. I'm like, wait a second, I need you to tell your story of adversity now.
Let's not be
And-
one-sided here.
Yeah, exactly. And I was glad to hear it, because it was way tougher, in terms of
Yeah.
we have so much to be grateful for here in America.
We do. We absolutely do.
Wow. Steven, any final words for the audience today?
Final words.
Or
I mean,
2026? I don't think we got it to 2026
oh, we didn't.
things
So
yet.
I do have some new stuff coming, actually. So let's start there, and then I'll give some kind of parting words.
Yeah.
It may or may not be wisdom. You can take it
Okay.
as it is. So for new things for me is we've been helping a lot of clients recently, and so we are now expanding into the mortgage game. So I just
That's right.
recently activated my license. I
Congratulations.
have a lot of clients that have been seeking that. So we've decided that, hey, we're going to do something extra there. So that's one thing. The other really cool thing is I'm working with a really great group of medical professionals.
Yeah.
And so can't really discuss much on there, but there will be something very big for next year as it seems to play out. The one thing that I'd said earlier and we talked about was like humility and curiosity.
Mhm.
And so I am always curious about how can I find capital for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And so we stumbled across this program called the E2 visa program,
Right.
or the EB5 visa program. And so it's a way that you can get a foreign investment into a company and they can get they can get a visa,
Mhm.
right? And their EB5 can even get citizenship. So we started diving deep down that rabbit hole. And because of the partnerships I've made, I got introduced to great individuals on the other side of the ocean, right? Because here's the biggest problem you have. If I'm just a company here presenting it and you're from another country, what validity do you have to know that I'm legit, that I'm not going to take your money and run?
Totally.
And then more importantly, the business is going to be in operation for at least 5 years so
Yeah.
that I can maintain my visa through that. So I'm working with an amazing individual. We're partnering up to where hopefully we'll be brokering some deals to bring massive amounts of capital into the United States
Good.
through the EB5 and through the E2 visa program.
That's great.
So,
I think I'm just glad to hear that you're doing it, Steven, and that you're doing it from a perspective of humility, curiosity, integrity, positive intention, because I think this work that you're doing, which is bridging capital across world powers, is very consequential work. And that we need to ensure that those foreign investors feel like their investment was taken care of, that we're good stewards of it, that they can come and love this country.
Yeah.
I think the opposite of that is very consequential. But I as I see people playing in that space, I feel good about you playing in that space, because I think you'll continue to do the right things for people.
Well, yeah, just like we say, tech for good, right?
Yeah.
The capital that we need to lay out in this country needs to be used for good. There needs to be positive impacts that come from it. There needs to be positive things that happen through the business you create. I tell any client I work with, like, I look at everything, when I have to do a financial review, I look at all your documents completely free, because the last thing I want to do is charge you a retainer and then actually have to give it back. because if I don't get you funded, then I give it back, right?
Mhm.
That's something that nobody else in this industry says. Trust me, I know who the people I'm competing against, right?
Yeah.
Many of them have much larger retainers, and they're like, hey, there's no guarantees in this.
Mhm.
For us, we'd like to operate on the fact that I would much rather review everything and say, not yet, do A, B, and C, versus, oh yeah, sign up with me. Okay, now show me your documents. Oh, sorry, can't help you, right? On your way.
Yeah.
Again, there's no integrity in that. There's nothing for good. And so I love what you guys are doing here, the coalitions that are being built, the money that's looking to be funded into these things. And as I've been thinking about this, we should potentially see if we can use the E2 for that. They don't like restaurants, unfortunately, but there's got to be some way we can structure there, right? Because the way the program's used is basically
What
you
about
have
restaurant
a wealthy
tech?
Um,
Or just tech altogether?
I just met with someone last week. Anytime we tried to talk to him about anything other than healthcare, he was just politely like, that sounds great.
Oh, okay.
Don't hire us because we can't sell that overseas.
And yeah, we have many conversations to have offline, but I think we're going in the right direction here.
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea is like, and I think this is what's important about building community, why I enjoy working with you, why I enjoy working with this community is I come open-handed with whatever resources I have, right?
Yeah.
And when everybody comes together open-handed with whatever resources you have and doing it from the fact that you're here to give value, right? This is important. And this, you should use this whether you're networking, whether you're building relationships, whatever it is. Give value first and don't expect anything in return. When you do that, you will naturally surround yourself with the right people. The right resources will naturally come to you. And more importantly, the wrong resources will stay away. Or they'll use you for advantage, and then you'll know who to work with and not to work with.
Totally.
Adam Grant wrote an amazing book called Givers and Takers. And so you can really identify the world into givers, takers, or matchers. In the long term, givers always win. It's what God's called me to do, lead in generosity. So anything I can do to be generous with my time, talent, or resources is what I'm here to do.
I love that, Steven. Thank you so much. That was excellent wisdom, by the way, to close it out too.
Is that the wisdom?
I think so.
I was, so I was going to give one piece of wisdom out there, because I know a lot of the individuals in this cohort don't have as many years on them as I do. Now, granted, there's some that are older and all that, but the biggest advice that I could give to any entrepreneur, to any individual who's looking to make an impact, who's looking to just really, do something amazing in this world, is the only thing you can control in this world is how you react to whatever happens to you. You can't control what's going to happen to you, but you can control how you react to it. So when you react in positivity, you react with positive intentions, you react with generosity. The Bible says, like, if your face gets slapped, turn your cheek 490 more times, 7 times, 70 times, right? The idea is that you can only control how you react. So when you react well, when you react positively, good gosh, the world's a better place. And even if it doesn't change that interaction, it changes you.
Yeah, the worst thing is to have somebody commit something negative against you, and then you become negative as a result if you call yourself a positive person. And
or you choose to retaliate, right? I mean, retaliation, that there's this human thought that we need justice, but I heard this really great classification of justice, and the idea is or forgiveness. So forgiveness is giving up our thirst for justice, right? Like, forgiveness isn't saying, hey, what you did is acceptable, or that, what you did isn't wrong. But what it is saying is that I'm going to give up my desire or my thirst for justice against you. Because generally, when we view other people, we view them based on their behavior, but we view ourselves based on our intent. Right? And when you look at the world in that capacity, it's very easy to want justice instead of seeking forgiveness.
Yeah, lots to unpack in that one too. All right, Steven, thank you so much for coming and recapping 2025, and I'm excited to see you a lot more
awesome.
this
Thanks,
coming
man.
year.